Since we've been talking about the golden ratio, Jim, could you give us a little bit more of an explanation of the Fibonacci spiral? Because we were just talking about that and we need a little bit more information maybe.
Sure. The Fibonacci spiral is built on top of the golden ratio by separating it into squares and rectangles. And it continue to do that. It basically works off of the Fibonacci numbers.
What are the Fibonacci numbers?
Which are 1, 2, 3, 5, and so on. So the numbers, as they grow, they add each other, and that was a discovery by Fibonacci.
Okay.
And Leonardo Fibonacci, who was in Italy, and he actually came from Pisa in
No
Italy.
kidding.
And, I use it quite a bit to troubleshoot my work. Sometimes, like I said, I'll see something that doesn't seem to work correctly, and so I'll just do an overlay of a golden ratio or a Fibonacci spiral and see if there's anything that might just be able to be moved a little bit to the left or the right, or if there's a movement. Like if you look in some paintings, you'll see there's a specific movement. Now the movement that I'm speaking about is movement of the viewer's eye, and that's how artists work, where they do an image but they want the viewer to follow a certain movement. Now the spiral, the Fibonacci spiral, is a comfortable movement, and so this is something that you should know about. You know, it's an important approach to that, and it's kind of nice to you know, work with the same tools that Leonardo and Michelangelo and all the other old great masters worked with, you know, and then also I think there is a specific natural effect by that, as a lot of the natural things like flowers and shells all adhere to this Fibonacci spiral, and if you look at aerial view of a hurricane in that spiral, and sometimes that's a Fibonacci spiral.
Okay. So would you say that like looking at this spiral and having your eye follow that spiral is sort of a calming effect on the person looking at this piece of art?
Yes, yes. And I don't know why. You know, it's they've tested it with people, and it seems to have an effect of unity in the two dimension, you know, and so that's if you have it, use it, you know. And the great thing is that artists today can stand on the shoulders of the great artists before them, and that's important, you know.
Speaking of artists, do you know of any artists that use math quite a bit within their art, or adhere to math a little bit more than, say, a student artist? Or
yes, I've gone to conferences where there was nothing but artists and mathematicians who worked together, and I brought a book. It's called the Bridges Conference, and these are all papers of artists and mathematicians who either worked together or worked separately and proposed ideas, and they have an art exhibition every time, and it's great. You know, it's just you feel like you're in back in the Renaissance, you know, talking to people. This one was in Spain, and I went to another one in Banff, and so on. And then I have friends that are artists and mathematicians, and they wrote this book on art and math, and they've done a lot of research. I met them at this Bridges Conference, and this is different ways people use art. Now this is one of mine in the book, and they actually asked me to talk about math, which is hard to believe, you know, but I did get a chance to talk more about how I use the golden ratio, and this is also one of mine. And so, you know, the square within a square. You know,
there you go.
A square within a rectangle. This is actually a golden ratio. So if you have to pick a size to work on something, why not just use it? And you know, this way, otherwise you might put something in and then later on say, I don't really like this, and I don't know why, you know. So it's not a rule, but it's important.
Thank you for checking out our YouTube channel. If you would like to see more of our content, click here or consider subscribing.